everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Couch with Katie, where we start conversations about well-being that are real, relatable, and just that little bit cozy. Today we're talking about something that we interact with on a daily basis: our phones, our computers, and all the other digital tools that we use. But whilst they can connect us to the world, they can also sometimes leave us feeling drained, disconnected, or distracted. So today we're diving into digital well-being, the art of balancing our screen time and being intentional about how we use technology. We'll also talk about how we can protect and enhance our overall health and digital well-being, but not just physically, but emotionally and mentally too. Now, this is something I've been looking into recently due to a conversation I've been having with friends, and initially I hadn't thought about digital well-being. I never thought about a negative impact that my phone or my laptop might be having in my life, and overall I thought things were pretty positive. But when discussing a variety of different subtopics relating to this, which I shall go into further very soon, I thought, perhaps I can make some improvements, and that could affect and improve my overall life in many ways. So I'm sure many of you can relate to this idea that, you go to send a text to say I'm on my way, or you go to check one message on Instagram, and all of a sudden you're scrolling through hours and hours of reels and you've watched your day disappear with you. That can be so easily done, and it can make us feel deflated and like we've wasted time, and it can overall have a massive impact on our mood. That's just one example of how things can have a negative impact. But what are other examples, and how can we make sure they don't take over our life? So, what is digital well-being? We're going to start off by defining it. I think there's a lot of emphasis in the media about reducing screen time, which of course is important in terms of connection, which we'll talk further about in a second, but it's not just about limiting screen time. It's about protecting and enhancing our health, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And like I said earlier, about improving our intentions in terms of connecting with our digital well-being. So it's about recognising how it affects us and taking proactive steps to reduce the negative impacts and trying to increase the positive impacts. Overall, it's about balance. You don't need to throw your phone out the window. It's about creating habits that allow you to thrive rather than leaving you feeling drained. So, lots of research has been done into the topic of digital well-being, and one piece of research splits digital well-being into 6 different categories. The first one, quite clearly, is just well-being. So this is the kind of overriding thing, but it refers more to mood and feeling. So this is how does using our phone, using our computer make us feel. It's about understanding technology's impact on positive and negative impacts on our lives. One question that you can ask yourself when reflecting on your digital well-being as a whole is, how do you think your relationship with your phone or computer or social media affects your well-being? Does it make you feel good or bad? Now, a lot of people talk about scrolling through Instagram and seeing other people's lives looking so wonderful, and it making them feel as though they're not achieving things, they're not feeling great. I know for me personally, Instagram doesn't massively affect me, but scrolling through LinkedIn for me has quite a negative impact. I feel like I'm not doing enough with my work. I feel like I'm not getting to where I need to be in my career yet, and often that can make me feel anxious, stressed, and decrease my mood. That is one thing in which I personally think that my well-being is negatively impacted in respect to my digital relations. But in terms of positivity, I get to engage with things that make me laugh, things that make me smile, and I often feel inspired by the content that I find. Overall, it can provide distraction to stresses in my everyday life. So, with that being said, I don't think everything is completely negative, but I also think there are things that we can improve on. It's also important, the second category, to set boundaries when using technology. So this could be allowing yourself to use your phone freely except for at meal times, or in the car, or just before you go to bed. Now, this could be different for everyone. I like to put my phone away when I'm eating. I like to have baths in the evening where I just read my book. I try to read my book on public transport and not just scroll through social media. But then I also allow myself to go on my phone at any other times of day. So with that, I'm reducing my screen time in certain times. I'm setting boundaries so it's not taking over my whole life. but I'm also allowing myself to use it when I need it. It's not about completely making your phone out to be the enemy, but it's about finding that balance, as we said before. So, how do you set boundaries with your phone or laptop or other digital tools in your life? The third topic is connection. So digital tools can facilitate or hinder our connections with others. Digital well-being encourages using technology to build and maintain healthy relationships, whether with family, friends or colleagues, whilst also being mindful of the potential for isolation or disconnection. Now, I think it's really interesting. With the wonders of technology these days, we can have FaceTime calls with people on the other side of the world. But equally, the fact that we are completely and permanently able to contact people, it can actually make be in contact with people, it can actually make us feel quite isolated and overwhelmed and feel as though there's not enough time in the day just for ourselves. I tried to integrate this as a boundary by allowing myself to play games or watch videos on my phone past 11 o'clock, but not allowing myself to reply to messages, for example. Now, this is easier said than done, but it means that I don't feel liable or responsible to always being connected. That being said, I love being able to chat with my friends and family when I'm far away from them. So it's about finding that perfect balance of connection. So ask yourself, does your phone make you feel connected to the people around you? And how can we improve these connections? Another similar one is communication. So as you'll know, the reason we have the phones that we have is to improve communication. And effective communication is the key to healthy relationships. Digital wellbeing itself supports clear and mindful communication, both online and offline, whilst also promoting digital literacy and understanding the nuances of online interactions. But, as I said, too much communication can make us feel overwhelmed, and equally, we can often feel a lot of anxiety. I know I do, when people don't reply instantly or we can't get through to those that we need. Do you feel, therefore, affected by messages that you do or don't receive? Do you find that being too connected to your phone and too connected and able to communicate with others actually induces negative emotions? And how can we change that? The next one is something that I really relate to, and definitely something that I need to improve on. This is focus. Digital distractions can significantly impact productivity and overall well-being. Digital well-being aims to improve focus and reduce distractions, allowing individuals to concentrate on tasks and activities that are important to them. I find the worst thing for me is having my phone nearby when I have to complete an important task. I'm so tempted to pick it up, scroll through TikTok, play a game, or anything but doing what I need to do, either going for a walk or reading my book particularly. So that's one thing this year as a New Year's resolution I tried to focus on, putting my phone away and getting the job at hand done, and then rewarding myself with time on my phone. I find that this is what decreases my productivity the most, makes me feel at the end of the day as if I've not accomplished as much, because I know that I've spent too much time on my phone. So, ask yourself the question, does technology affect your focus and tear you away from the task at hand? Then finally, now this is a bit of a tricky one, the final point is purpose. Now, technology can be a powerful tool for achieving personal and professional goals. The way that technology is about these days means that we can use it to improve the efficiency of the tasks that we're getting through. Digital wellbeing encourages using technology to support these goals and to find meaning and purpose in daily life. Now, actually, you might think that this means we're actually encouraging using our phone or other forms of technology more. I must say that a lot of my job and my life involves using my technology, so therefore I can't completely cut it out of my life. So, as I said before, it's about being intentional and about being able to use it to the best of its ability and putting it away when you don't feel it's providing you with any extra support. So, perhaps you can reflect on how much you need your phone for daily tasks and celebrating it for what it's helping you for and putting it away when it's distracting you from what you need to be doing. So, perhaps you have noticed that you're a bit overwhelmed by your digital life. Or maybe you're thinking this doesn't resonate with you at all. Let's discuss, therefore, what are symptoms or signs of digital overload. So, first of all, there might be physical signs which may surprise you. When was the last time you looked at your phone for more than an hour? You might feel tension in your shoulders, headaches or strained eyes. These are all signs that your body's telling you it's time for a break. Now in the last year I've really noticed that my posture is awful. And when thinking about it, I realised that I sit with very rounded shoulders around my desk. When I'm at my phone, I've always put my head and my neck down, and I can't think where that could be coming from until I read a really interesting article about digital wellbeing and realised it's probably how I'm using my technology. You can actually reduce these feelings of strained eyes and tiredness by having a blue light reduction setting on your phone and laptop. For example, I know my phone reduces to a more orange warm light after 10 p.m. so that I can therefore get better sleep and reduce the impact that it's having on my eyes. There's also an example of mental and emotional overload here. So perhaps you are constantly checking notifications or mindlessly scrolling. This can really affect our mental state. It can leave us feeling stressed, anxious or frustrated, especially if we're absorbing a lot of negative news or comparing ourselves to others. I know that often when I'm receiving a lot of negative news stories, particularly through the COVID pandemic, I found that I needed more time away from my phone in order to feel relaxed and stress-free. Social media in particular has been found to trigger feelings of inadequacy or low self-esteem, and often you can find yourself encountering triggers through mindless scrolling that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. We're all guilty of looking at someone else's feed and thinking, how did they do it all? How can I be more like them? Leading to self-critical thoughts and ongoing self-shame spirals. There are also behavioural signs of overload. It could affect our inability to focus. As we said earlier, is that our phones can often be a distraction, but often an overuse of our phones can mean that we find it hard to concentrate at all in the first place. If you've noticed that you can't sit down for 20 minutes without reaching for your phone, or if you're always multitasking between work and texting, that's definitely a sign of digital overload. See, I'm guilty of that. There's absolutely no blame being said. I can't find myself putting away my phone for very long at all. However, if I put it away in another room, I do find that I'm able to sit still for a lot longer than I thought. In fact, a study found that the average person checks their phone over 150 times a day, with many actually doing a lot more than this. That constant interruption means that our brain never gets a break to focus deeply on one single task. So what can we do? If we can notice these signs, how can we actually improve our digital well-being? First of all, it's all about creating healthier habits. As I mentioned earlier, it's about setting clear boundaries. It's not about completely cutting out our phone and reducing our screen time and so that we never use technology at all. Overall, technology has so many benefits, and often we cannot cope in our everyday lives without making the most out of our phones. So maybe set boundaries, especially in the evening. You might limit your use of your phone an hour before bed, or put your phone away when in communication with family and friends in real life, or perhaps over meal times or at the cinema. Creating boundaries is subjective, and you might find that some work better for you, or others work better for someone else. But creating those habits can be really beneficial. You can also use Do Not Disturb modes during focused work or family time. Or like I suggested, just put your phone as far away from you as possible so you're not tempted to look. You can also reframe connection. Use technology to build better relationships, not replace face-to-face interactions. Maybe encourage more meetings in person and use social media to facilitate that. Meeting new people or getting in touch with an old friend to say, let's go out for coffee sometime, instead of only texting them and saying, we should do this sometime, and not getting meaningful connections out of that. You can also schedule regular video calls or catch-ups with friends and family to stay connected, so that you get that dopamine and that feeling of connection from speaking face-to-face if, for example, they live too far away. You can also practice mindful communication. Take a minute to think about your text before you type, especially in emails or texts. Often emotions can make us respond hastily, but sometimes taking a step back and a deep breath can allow us to form more effective communication styles. You should also always promote clear and kind communication online. Don't use technology as a way to avoid difficult conversations. You can also improve your focus and your productivity using specific focus apps. You may have heard of Forest or Pomodoro that allow you to put your phone away or even take regular breaks so that you can swap between having really focused time and time that you can spend scrolling through mindlessly. We've all got to do it sometime. We can't completely cut it out. You can also limit distractions by putting your phone on airplane mode or disabling notifications altogether. And furthermore, we can also find purposeful uses of technology. Technology can support your goals, whether it's through apps that help you track your fitness, organise your life, or spark creativity. Don't think that technology is also bad. Try and use your phone in a way that is purposeful and intentional. Overall, you can set technology goals that align with your personal or professional aspirations to allow you to connect to your life goals quicker and more efficiently. In our increasingly connected world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by constant notifications and screen time. Prioritising our digital well-being helps reduce stress, improve sleep quality, and foster deeper personal connections. Why don't you try this mini challenge today? Don't completely say goodbye to your phone, but maybe put it away for 1 hour. Read a book, go on a walk, or spend more time one-on-one with family and friends, and see how that challenge made you feel. Later, reward yourself with using it. Make the most out of purposeful apps and remember why you have your phone or computer in the first place. By integrating boundaries, we can help feel more aligned with ourselves, more inspired and more connected to those around us. So there you have it, a few simple steps to start improving your digital well-being. Whether it's setting boundaries, improving your focus, or reconnecting with the people who matter, small changes can make a big difference in how you feel each day. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, digital well-being isn't about perfection. It's about making choices that support your mind, body, and relationships. Let me know how you're doing with the challenge, and I'll see you next time. Now take care, both online and off.